Hey everyone, just so you know, the following video is a clip from a show I actually do on AFTV. The full link for the video is in the description below. Thank you for your continued support, really appreciate it. Now, what you've got here, Odegaard and Rice, or Odegaard and Vieira, sorry, Rice is the sitter. They're your 2-8 floating sort of, to support the front three. Rice covers a lot of ground on his own so that they can get forward and help Saka and Jesus. And Rice has a lot of coverage to do. Zinchenko will come in as well, but he had to make sure he held his position at times because of the likes of Kulusevski. Now, the midfield I felt really struggled and I think failed to do their job in this game against Tottenham. What do I mean by that? Let's start with our captain, Martin Odegaard, who once he got the yellow card, I felt suddenly couldn't press with the same intensity, couldn't go chasing all over the pitch, didn't want to. There was one moment where in this corner here, he left one on Van de Ven. Do you remember? Van de Ven, I think, came inside and Odegaard just left a leg out. And it wasn't a yellow card or anything particularly malicious, but I think it was just I'm letting you know you're there and I'm disrupting your rhythm a little bit. The minute Odegaard got a yellow card for, I think it was gesturing to the referee that he should be giving a yellow card to Udogie, which was coming out anyway, so it was really stupid from Odegaard. I felt that he lost his intensity in the press, and actually Arsenal's intensity dropped a little bit. But this isn't the only area in which Odegaard really struggled in this game. Having been brilliant against PSV, brilliant against Everton, he really wasn't at the races today. And in this Maddison-Odegaard battle, I hate to say it, we've got to face it, Maddison came out on top with 2 assists. Here are Odegaard's stats from the game. Passes completed, only 19 of his 28 attempted passes actually made it to the intended player. That's a completion rate of 68%, so low for a player who is typically so reassured in possession, so safe, makes the right decisions. I even felt some of his through balls and decisions about when to open up or whatever he got wrong at times. It wasn't a great showing in that sense. His attacking third passes completed, only 8 of his 13, so 5 times he gave the ball away in the attacking third. Forward passes completed 6 out of 11, so almost half of his forward passes he got wrong. Forward passes, almost half. And he didn't create a single big chance in the game as well, as you can see from this graphic. So a really poor showing from Odegaard, but a really poor showing from our 8s in general. We think we need to understand how and why this happened. What I've got here, courtesy of the analyst, is shooting from left to right. We've got, and by the way, that was true for all the graphics I've shown you as well before as well, that it's all left to right. But what I've shown you here is Odegaard's passes. So the number 8 is where he's standing and the arrow is where the ball travels and ends up. And I just want to, before I pass too much comment, just have a little look at this. Just digest it a sec. And then I'm going to show you Fabio Vieira, which is going to come up now. Have a little look at this. Take it all in, and now I'm going to show you the Havertz one. Here's Havertz. Very left-leaning, right? Really out to the left. Now, my issue is, and let's run through them all over again. Back to the Odegaard one. One ball into the penalty area from Odegaard. That's it. There's another that actually crosses the penalty area, but that's it. Only one pass from Martin Odegaard into the penalty area. Vieira, not one into the penalty area. Havertz, not one completed pass into the penalty area. Our 8s are expected to get forward into these areas so that they can bring in Bukayo Saka, they can bring in Jesus, and okay, they did for the deflected Romero goal, that worked quite well, and they can be supplying Eddie Nketiah, but they weren't doing that, and they're doing that while leaving Declan Rice, or whoever the sitting midfielder is, quite exposed. More on that in a sec. The question is with this, is it a problem with Eddie Nketiah? Is Eddie not showing for the ball enough? Are these passes not on because, let's get the ball out. Apologies, bear with me one sec. No, there we go, let's try this again. Okay, is this not happening because Eddie isn't showing for the ball to be able to combine, to be able to bring players into the game? Or is it because the number 10s, Vieira, Odegaard, or advanced 8s, whatever you want to call them, aren't getting into spaces where they can combine? Well, let me show you this from last season. I've analysed our passing in this North London derby at home compared to the North London derby at home last season when we won 3-1. Gabriel Jesus led the line. Here are some stats. You're going to see them all at once, but I'll go through them one at a time. Eddie Nketiah, passes received. In brackets, I've got 23-24 because that's the season I'm talking about. 12 times he received the ball in this season's game. Only once did he receive it from our number 8s. That's Odegaard, Vieira and Kai Havertz. Once, people. Only once did Nketiah get the ball from Vieira or Odegaard. That doesn't feel right. And Arsenal totaled 317 passes. So of our 317 passes that day, one was from one of Odegaard, Vieira or Havertz into Eddie Nketiah. Compare it to last season, Jesus, that's why I got 22-23 because that's the season before. 33 passes Jesus received in the game against Tottenham last season at home. That's 21 more times. Flip the digits and add that for Nketiah's tally. You know, it's significantly more. Passes received from the number 8 in the game, 8 times. And Arsenal completed 511 passes in that game. Jesus has an ability when he's up top to link play, to bring everyone together. What was our most fluid performance of the season so far? It was undoubtedly the PSV game. Undoubtedly, when Jesus was at the heart of everything, everything seemed to connect. Everything seemed to come together. And I'm just comparing 2 derbies there, but there's no doubt that when it's Eddie Nketiah, I didn't focus on Eddie Nketiah. I was talking about how he's improved massively in terms of linking up and bringing people into play. But you can always see in these bigger games, in the tougher occasions, like Goodison away, like a North London derby at home. I think he did okay in the Man United game, but it was nothing special. I think he did fine though. You see that we were lacking Jesus up front. And where I think Arteta's got this wrong is you're sitting there going, well, we don't have our main left wingers, so rather than trusting Reece Nelson, the left winger we just gave a new contract to and we supposedly believe in, we're actually going to mess around with it and end up with 2 strikers, with one of them played out on the left just to try and accommodate for, well, I don't know what it is. What do we want? Nketiah's work rate? Do we want his kind of ability to be a fox in the box and kind of pick up good goal scoring positions? Ultimately, it didn't work. Now, at the time of the 11 coming out, I didn't hate on it. I wasn't sitting here going, what an absolute disgrace, what's Arteta on about, what's he doing? But in game we could see it wasn't working, Nketiah wasn't having an impact, and so leaving him on for the 90 and taking off Jesus, I thought was a crazy, crazy decision. But I also want to show you this. Now this is, I saw James Benge was tweeting about this, so I wanted to bring it up and show you all as well. It comes from Stats Perform, and it's basically a second half pass map. It's got the average position of certain players, and it's got basically who they were passing to more, the thicker the line, the more they kind of combined. But look at Jorginho. Like, you know, Havertz and Odegaard are miles away. Odegaard's closer to Saka and Havertz is closer to Zinchenko than they are to Jorginho. So my big question here is, if these number 10s and 8s aren't combining with our striker well enough, bring the ball into Vieira, get Jesus up the pitch, if they are not combining and getting close enough, and we are still getting outrun in midfield, what's the benefit to leaving all this space for a Declan Rice and then Jorginho in the second half? Because I felt there were far too many opportunities, especially for Tottenham in the second half, to basically play through us. It happened in the first half as well. But they were able to just play through us because the press didn't quite work at first. And then Jorginho and Rice were going, whoa, okay, I've got to manage this on my own. And I don't understand how Arsenal's central midfield essentially failed to do anything in terms of being the supporting cast for the front 3, or at least giving support to the defensive midfielders so we wouldn't get over the run. Basuma, Sarr and Maddison had a lot of fun, especially Basuma, especially Maddison. I thought Sarr did his bit as well, but they just had loads of fun, you know, covering ground, strutting their stuff, playing their football, because Arsenal couldn't really get near them, and they were able to play through us quite significantly on quite a few occasions.